Welcome to the Cell Biology and Genetics component of the course Biology for Educators. This course is scheduled to be held over 2 days, on Mondays from 4 to 6, and these will usually be when you present your seminar presentations. So the course will still be done online and remotely, and there will be no contact sessions. The second session is Friday from 4 to 6, and with the exception of the first 2 weeks where we will be doing online sessions to fit in with the seminar the seminar presentations in because of the public holiday on the 9th of August. The rest will be quizzes only. Now, the expectations, which we will discuss in the session, but from my side, my expectations are: number one, that teaching and learning will be remote and online, so you will be expected to engage with the online components of the course, including any videos from YouTube or videos that I myself will put up, and you will have to engage with these online. That will be the asynchronous mode of presentation. The synchronous mode will be the seminar presentations. So it will be both synchronous and asynchronous, with the synchronous being the contact sessions where you are expected to log on and participate in the conference on Ulwazi. The synchronous teaching, as I said, will be carried out on Ulwazi and will involve the use of the conference tool. If for any reason you cannot attend, please let me know in time. So for the synchronous teaching, the following is expected. Punctuality, please let's start on time. So let's all log on at the time mentioned in the message you will get from about the conference. You will be expected to participate, so please ensure that at least your microphone is working. And feedback, we'll expect feedback to be given to your fellow participants when they do their seminar presentations. So in terms of the assessment, there will be a weekly online quiz, not starting this week, but the week after. There will be short questions to answer every Monday, which are part to ensure your participation, and you can ask questions in the seminar presentations. Then there's the seminar presentation and write-up, which must be submitted a week after your presentation, and it will count 20 marks, and it will include your presentation. There will be assignments, 3 writing tasks, and probably a mid-course assignment out of 15, and there will be a mid-course online test or quiz, which will count for 10. The weekly quizzes will count for 15. That will give you a course mark of 50%. In terms of attendance, connectivity permitting, you are expected to attend Monday presentations and Friday presentations when they happen, and you are expected to participate in the discussions that follow each seminar presentation. If connectivity and your home situation doesn't allow you to attend this session synchronously, you are expected to watch the video of the session or the videos that I compile from the sessions at a time that is convenient to you, and contribute to the discussions by posting comments or questions next to the session. In terms of your satisfactory performance requirements, you will need to do the online quizzes. You must do 1 seminar presentation and write-up, the mid-course assignment and or the writing tasks, the end of block quiz. And in terms of the schedule, this is how it will be conducted. Today is the introduction, also how to do a PowerPoint presentation with a voiceover. And I will post some questions later on or during the session to see what you know in terms of the cell. On Friday, we will look at the eukaryotic cell with a focus on the compartmentalization and the endomembrane system, and that is when seminars 1 and 2 need to be completed. Monday the 9th is a public holiday. So on Friday the 13th, we will look at the structure of the cell membrane and the cytoskeleton, and that will be seminars 3 and 4. Then the next week, Monday, we will look at microscopy. That will be seminar 5, and that will be the first online quiz. Then we will look at the cell cycle and mitosis. An overview, including cancer. Seminars 6 and 7 will take place. On Friday will be an online quiz. Then we will look at DNA, the genetic material. Seminars 8 and 9. Again, an online quiz and written task. Then the biotechnology, we will look at genetic engineering. Seminar 10. There will be an online quiz, and then we will look at cloning, and that will be seminar 11 and 12, and that will be the final online quiz and written task, which will probably be the end of block quiz and the mid-course assignment. Hi, let me explain to you how the seminar tasks work. You will see there it says the seminar tasks are for both presentation and submission. So once you have presented the seminar task, you need to submit it in writing as a written task that outlines what the task was about and give the basic information that you presented in your presentation. Obviously, your written submission must also be referenced, and you will be required to put it through the reference program, Turnitin, just to check for plagiarism, and you'll have to include the plagiarism report. So each week there are basically 2 seminar presentations that will need to be presented. The first looks at cell compartmentalization, and the other looks at the endomembrane system. So the 2 presenters will have to, using the outline that is presented there, provide a presentation that is with the PowerPoint slides, and preferably it should be narrated, and I will explain later how you can narrate your PowerPoint slides. But when you're looking at the cell so if looking at cell compartmentalization, you will need to, with the aid of examples, explain why eukaryotic cells are divided into compartments, and think of an analogy that you could use to explain the importance of the compartmentalization. The second seminar task looks at the endomembrane system. So if you think back to what you know about the cells, think about the endoplasmic reticulum. Here you will need to describe the endomembrane system and its significance in the cell. In the second seminar presentation, or in the second week, the 2 seminar tasks looks at the lysomes and Tay-Sachs disease and the cell membrane. So there are times that these things malfunction, and the lysomes malfunctioning is linked to Tay-Sachs disease, so you must give an account of what the disease is and how this is associated with the lysosomes, and then you look at the cytoskeleton, and here you will discuss the structure of the cytoskeleton, and relate it to its varied functions. Also when looking at the cell membrane, cystic fibrosis is associated with the malfunctioning of the cell membrane, so you will need to describe cystic fibrosis and how the functioning of the cell membrane, or should I say so when you look at cell membranes, you must talk about cystic fibrosis and how the functioning of the cell membranes is linked to cystic fibrosis. The fourth seminar task looks at the cytoskeleton. Here you will need to discuss the structure of the cytoskeleton and relate it to its varied functions. Now, the structure of the cytoskeleton is beyond school level, so just take note that these are not necessarily these presentations are not necessarily geared to school students. The fifth seminar task looks at in the third week, the seminar presentation looks at microscopy, and here you must describe the function of the different types of microscopes, including the light microscope and then the electron microscopes. Okay, so those seminar tasks look at the cell structure. Wel, okay. Ek kan klaarmaak so dat daai inkom. Okay, the next two seminar tasks look at the cell cycle. So what is the cell cycle? Identify the stages in the eukaryotic cell and the principal characteristics of each stage. Now remember, cell division is only a small part of the cell cycle. The other seminar task will look at cancer. This is when a normal cell is transformed into a cancerous cell and mitosis literally goes wrong. So here the person who does this task must answer what the oncogenes are and what the relationship is to the cellular genes involved in the control of normal growth and development. Then we start looking at the DNA. What is DNA? The genetic material. And here you must use diagrams to explain what DNA is, what its structure is, and relate its structure to its function. The ninth seminar task is to look at chromosomes, which are described as the major carriers of genetic material and genetic information, and they're made up of the chromatins plus the histone proteins. And with aid of diagrams, you need to explain how chromosomes are related to the chromatin network and how these are related to DNA and how these are all linked. And in your explanation, please indicate clearly the significance of each of these components in the eukaryotic cell. Then we will look at the biotechnology, genetic engineering. What is biotechnology? And you must give at least 2 examples to describe what genetic engineering is. Then we will look at cloning. You must explain what cloning is and describe the various types of cloning, because there are different types of cloning, and in your presentation make sure that you present what these types of cloning are. And the last seminar task will look at the ethical considerations related to genetic engineering. And I think what's important here is the person will need to define what are ethics, what are the ethical issues related to DNA cloning. Okay, to prepare for the seminar tasks, you can use the prescribed textbook, Biology 10th edition by Campbell. It is available in the library, and it must be one of the sources that you cite when you write up your seminar presentation. So let's just look at the seminar presentation. The seminar presentation needs to be written up, and it must be a 1,500 written report on the topic of your seminar. It is due 1 week after you do your seminar, and 10% will be deducted per day that it is late up until the 3rd day, and please note that this includes weekends. So please make sure that your seminar task is written up when you do your presentation as part of your preparation. Now, the assessment criteria for your seminar task are included in the course study guide. Please note the written task is out of 20. So you will receive marks for your conceptual understanding of the topic, how you have answered the question, and that you've understood the concepts in relation to each other. So 10 marks out of 20 will be for the presentation of the information in your seminar task. The other 10% will be for your writing. So please make sure that you do structure your writing well, and you include an introduction and a conclusion, and make sure that your writing is coherent, and you develop your position and you justify it. So the seminar task will be assessed using the rubric that is in the course guide. Okay, and finally, just some guidelines for producing your presentation. Please watch the YouTube video after this short insert. But once you have done your video, your PowerPoint presentation, and you've set it up and you do your animations or whatever, you go to slideshow, and at the slideshow you can rehearse your timings and set it up, and you can rehearse your timings along with the narration. So you say record narration, so you record your narration, press OK. You'll start from the first slide and you narrate. Now, just one thing, please make sure that before you move to the next slide that you have completed your narration for slide 1, or else the narration cuts off. And start your narration for the second slide. So you can rehearse this quite well, and you record the narrations, and at the end, when you're finished, it will ask you, do you want to save your narrations? You say yes, and it saves the narrations with your animations. If you want to, you can then save this and record it as a video. So unless you have Windows 7, you will go to File, Export, and Export as a video. So you can prepare your slides either as this narrated slideshow. And again, let me just remind you, please email it to me at the start of the session so that I can share your narrated PowerPoint or your video with the class. So I'm looking forward to seeing some good presentations. As mentioned, the video giving you some tips to do a good PowerPoint presentation is included just after this.
Hi, I'm Meredith from HubSpot, and today I'm going to show you how to design a good PowerPoint presentation. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. Post any questions or suggestions you have in the comments below. Let's get started. Have a presentation coming up that involves PowerPoint slides? Creating the content and design for a new presentation can be a tough task. Between outlining, designing, and finalizing the details, it's not uncommon for a few questions to pop up. Where's the best place to start? Are some steps better to take before others? How can you make sure you aren't missing anything? And how on earth do you master those essential design tricks that can take a presentation from good to great? We're here to make the process a little easier for you. With the following tips, you'll be able to navigate PowerPoint like a pro. The first step is outlining your content. First, decide on a working title and the main takeaways. A working title is more specific than a topic. Think, how the right nutrition can strengthen your kids' bones, instead of raising healthy kids. Once you've got your working title, make a list of the main takeaways of your presentation to begin giving it some structure. While you outline, it's important to keep your specific audience in mind. Ask yourself, what do your audience members already know? What new information can you teach them? What are they expecting from your presentation? What's going to be interesting to them? What will keep them focused and engaged? Next, formulate your content as a narrative if possible. This may not apply for more formal presentations that have rigid structures, like performance reports, but for presentations that have more flexibility, presenting your content as a narrative can be much more compelling. Stories appeal to people's emotional side in ways that information, facts, and figures can't. They help you relate to your audience, and in turn, they'll make you and your message far more interesting for your audience. Next, collect relevant data and examples to boost your content's credibility. While big statements can help you set the stage, supporting those statements with evidence will make your argument more interesting and credible. But don't just slap random stats on your slide and expect to wow your audience. Be sure your data comes from a reputable source and that you're presenting it in a way that's easy to understand, like through accurate charts and graphs. Now, it's time to focus on outlining your PowerPoint design. Pick a color scheme. Whether you decide to use 2, 3, or 4 different colors in your presentation is up to you. But certain color combinations go together better than others. Pick colors that support the tone of your content, solve for legibility, and don't distract from what you have to say. Next, design your slide backgrounds. In PowerPoint, less is more. You don't ever want to let the design distract from your message. But at the same time, you want to get more creative than a plain white background, even if you're going for a very simple design. PowerPoint has pre-designed templates available that you can use as a starting point. To browse these templates on a Mac, click on the slide or slides you want to add the template to. Then click the Design tab at the top of the screen. To browse these templates on a PC, click on the slide or slides you want to add the template to. Then click the Design tab at the top of the screen. In the background group, click the arrow next to the background styles to open up the theme gallery. You can use one of these pre-made templates as a base to customize and add your own creative spin. Next, it's time to format your content for maximum impact. The most basic design work is done, and it's time to start filling in the information on your slides based on the text outline you created earlier. First, create a skeleton of how your slides will flow by adding a title slide, all your header slides, and maybe a few supporting slides in between. These slides shouldn't be complex, just titles and headers, a few tidbits of information, some details you want to remember down the road, and only the 1 or 2 images you're positive you want to use. You'll add more slides and fill in the rest of the information and images later, I promise. You should start with a strong opening. Whether you like it or not, your audience is going to make value judgments about you, your organization, and your message within the first minute of your presentation. Want to ensure you start your presentation with a bang? The folks at the London Speaking Bureau suggest beginning with a dramatic, sharp opening, like a challenging question or poll. For example, you might say, "Everybody close your eyes. Now raise your hand if you've ever been rude to someone." You might also use a powerful statistic or a personal story that your specific audience can relate to. However you choose to begin, be sure it engages your audience immediately, both intellectually and emotionally. Now fill in the text on your slides using concise language. Your slides are there to support the speaking components of your presentation, not replace it. If your slides contain too much information, like full sentences or paragraphs, then your audience members won't be able to help but read the slides instead of listening to you. Plus, that's boring. Instead, use slides to enhance keywords and show visuals while you stand up there and do the real work, telling a story and describing your data. When it comes to your slide text, focus on the main phrases of a bullet point and cover the details verbally. Finally, you should end with a strong take-home message. A lot of people get lazy with the end of their presentations, but you want to end with a bang, just like you started with one. Leave your audience with something they'll remember, something that'll make them think, and maybe even mobilize. Want to make your presentations even stronger? Click the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and subscribe. Let me know how you're doing in the comments below.